Hi everyone! Today we're taking a look at the story Fated to Meet You. Our story takes place in a magical kingdom known as MagicStar. A kingdom where all kinds of creatures live together. Humans, fairies, angels, demons, and many other magical beings all share this mysterious world. But among them, there's one man who is feared by many. Yet despite his terrifying reputation, he's also incredibly popular because of his strikingly handsome appearance. He is none other than the Demon King. But this isn't his story alone. Our story begins with two fairy sisters. The older sister is named Nanami, while her younger sister is named Cupcake. From the moment they were born, the two sisters only had each other to rely on. And despite having very little, they found happiness in the smallest things. More than anything, the sisters loved spending time together. Their favorite pastime was harvesting fresh fruit and turning it into delicious sweets. For Nanami and Cupcake, these little moments were precious. The two sisters had just finished preparing their delicious sweet treat. They happily set off to share their creation with the other citizens of MagicStar. But their peaceful journey wouldn't last very long, because along the way, they suddenly ran into someone they definitely weren't expecting, the Demon King himself. The encounter happened so suddenly that Nanami lost her balance, but before she could hit the ground, he caught her. Nanami found herself safely in the Demon King's arms, and the moment she looked up at him, she froze. His eyes were beautiful. For a moment, Nanami was completely mesmerized by his gaze, forgetting who she was even standing in front of. Meanwhile, Cupcake hadn't been quite as lucky. The impact of the encounter had sent her away, but the moment she recovered, she immediately rushed back to her sister. Seeing Nanami in the arms of the feared Demon King, Cupcake moved between them, ready to protect her sister. After all, everyone knew the Demon King's reputation. But instead of attacking them, he did something completely unexpected. The Demon King casually noticed some cream left on his glove. He brought his glove to his mouth and licked the cream right off. Then rather than threatening the sisters, he simply made them an offer. He would let them go if they made him more sweets. Cupcake wasn't surprised in the slightest. After all, she already knew just how irresistible her sister's sweets could be. Apparently, even the Demon King couldn't resist them. The sisters agreed to his request, and with that their unexpected encounter came to an end. Once they were finally back home, Nanami needed a moment to process everything that had just happened. She sat down on a large flower and looked over at her sister, still trying to make sense of her unexpected encounter with the Demon King. Cupcake smiled and teased her. "We escaped the deadly encounter thanks to your sweets, sissy." Nanami couldn't help but laugh. "I guess sweets really are magical," Nanami replied. Cupcake giggled. "Well, that's all because of you." The two sisters laughed together before remembering the deal they had made. If they wanted the Demon King to leave them alone, they would have to make him more sweets. But Cupcake wasn't finished teasing her sister just yet. She gently laid her head down on Nanami's lap and looked up at her with a knowing expression. Then she asked the question that immediately caught Nanami off guard. "You like him, don't you?" Nanami slowly walked towards the balcony. Looking out into the night, she couldn't stop thinking about what had happened earlier. And even if she did have feelings for the Demon King, would someone like him ever feel the same way about a fairy like her? Nanami sighed, believing that her feelings could never possibly be returned. But little did she know, she was already on his mind. All day long, the Demon King hadn't been able to forget her. In fact, he had already begun making plans to make Nanami his, and his alone. Back in the castle, the Demon King reached into a drawer and pulled out a mysterious magical jewel. He had just taken a sip of wine When he held the crystal close, a strange magic began to flow from the wine, slowly seeping into the jewel like poison. His eyes narrowed as the crystal absorbed the enchantment. And with a quiet, almost sincere smile, he whispered, I can't wait to see you again. Eventually, the two sisters entered the dark woods of MagicStar. The atmosphere immediately changed. It was dark, cold, and strangely abandoned. The only source of light were the occasional fallen stars scattered across the ground, while the moon struggled to shine through the thick clouds above. Cupcake shivered. She definitely didn't like this place, but Nanami felt completely different. Instead of being frightened, she found the darkness strangely peaceful. She called it calming, and she liked that it wasn't too bright. But before the sisters could travel much further, someone appeared before them. It was the Demon King. His eyes immediately fell upon Nanami, and with a smile he said, Finally, I get to see you again. Nanami happily showed him the tray of sweets they had prepared for him, but the Demon King wasn't interested in the sweets anymore, because the sweets had never been what he truly wanted. They had only been part of his plan. He looked at Nanami and told her that with a woman as sweet as her, he would never need sweets again. Then the Demon King reached into his pocket and pulled out a mysterious magical jewel. He held it out toward Nanami. Cupcake immediately realized something was wrong. Nanami, don't look at it! But it was already too late. Nanami's eyes met the crystal. The moment she looked into it, she fell into a deep trance. The tray slipped from her hands, and the freshly baked sweets crashed onto the forest floor. Cupcake desperately tried to save her sister. She transformed into her true fairy form. Glowing wings appeared behind her, and a small magical scepter. With all the power she had, Cupcake attacked the Demon King, but her magic was no match for him. The Demon King's power completely overwhelmed her. Cupcake became unable to move, and while she was helplessly watching, Nanami began to transform. The magical crystal suddenly shattered, its sharp fragments piercing into Nanami's soul, filling her with dark magic. Her fairy form began changing. The light within her faded, and the darkness of the Demon King's power took its place. Nanami had become something entirely different, a demon queen. His queen. Cupcake could only watch. She begged her sister not to leave her, not to abandon her. She couldn't bear the thought of being alone. But Nanami looked at her sister and calmly replied, she belonged with him. Her heart had known it from the very moment she first looked into his eyes. And now, there was no going back. The Demon King and Nanami sealed their connection with a kiss. The bond between them was complete. The fairy, who once spent her days making sweets with her beloved sister, had become the Demon King's queen. And from that moment onward, Nanami would forever be his. While Cupcake believed her sister needed to be saved, there was something she didn't know. A secret Nanami had kept to herself for years. Nanami had never truly enjoyed the bright warmth of the sun. The sweets she had spent so many years making were often far too sweet for her own taste. And the cheerful life she shared with Cupcake wasn't quite as perfect as it seemed. Because deep down, Nanami had always preferred the darkness, the quiet places, the peaceful nights. The places where she could simply be herself without having to pretend. So when Nanami met the Demon King, she didn't feel like something was wrong. Quite the opposite, really. For the first time in her life, everything seemed to make sense. The darkness that had always comforted her. The quiet that she had always enjoyed. Even the strange feeling she had when she looked into his eyes. It all felt natural. As if she had finally found a place where she belonged. But poor Cupcake didn't know any of this. All she could see was her sister being taken away by a powerful demon king. So Cupcake made a promise. She would save Nanami, no matter how long it took, no matter how difficult the journey became. She would never give up until she broke the curse and brought her sister back.